Special operations gave me a life of adrenaline, adventure, and danger. I went to the military years ago because I thought it's where I could learn about strength and purpose. And you think the military teaches you everything you need to know about strength and purpose. But for the sake of my future, here's something I had to learn entirely on my own. Serving in a Special Operations Airborne unit wasn't even just your standard military experience. Even amongst the military community, you kind of have these tiers, with the majority being your basic units. Then comes your airborne units, which are seen as a bit more prestigious and physically demanding. Then comes Special Operations, which demands a whole other mission set, skill level, and op tempo that's associated with it. As a leader, it was really tough to operate at the level that they need you to be at. You aren't just expected to survive and skate by. The very nature of Special Operations itself means success is to be expected. After graduating UCLA, I set out to serve. I wanted to make a difference, and I came from a long line of family members who actually served in great wars, from my grandparents to my uncles, to my dad, and even my older brother. They all raised their hand, swore an oath, and made a sacrifice that less than 1% of the US population would ever make. And growing up witnessing this firsthand, I wanted the opportunity to don the same badge of courage. I earned my top secret security clearance, and I volunteered to jump out of perfectly good airplanes and helicopters at 4 a.m. under cold winds and dark skies. I had the honor to take part in supporting Tier 1 special mission units and really serve the best of the best. Every jump felt like I was defying gravity and life-changing injuries, but gravity always wins eventually. Though my role was perhaps a footnote in the larger operation, the experience of standing shoulder to shoulder with these top-tier units was electrifying, and the pride I experienced was undeniable. But there was something deeper that was shifting through me. Physically, every jump took a little more toll from my body. I had deteriorating joints, constant pain, not knowing if my next jump would end your career or maybe even end your life. By 26, 27, I felt like I was moving inside a 46-year-old body. And the worst part, I didn't control my life. I didn't control where I went, where I deployed, how long I stayed there. None of this was really my choice. Uncle Sam owned my entire future. And really, I thought to myself like, hey, this is like what I signed up for. However, what they didn't tell you in the fine print when signing on the dotted line was watching your teammates divorce twice before the age of 30. Knowing that, divorce rates in the special operations community were estimated between 70 to 80%. You missed countless birthdays, anniversaries, key moments with children, and had to grieve the passing of loved ones, oftentimes alone and at a distance. And to top it all off, most of your senior leaders were all going bald, and I wasn't trying to lose my hair. Jokes aside, the cost of the mission was often a hidden one. And that's when I realized something deeper about my own purpose and what I valued. And it really reminded me of something my father would actually tell me growing up. If you don't make decisions in your life, life would make those decisions for you. It hit me one night during a battle captain briefing downrange. I looked around the room and realized half the people had been divorced multiple times. They struggled with some sort of mental health. They had fractured homes and children they barely got to see. I wasn't just deciding whether to stay in the military at this point. I was deciding what kind of man I was going to be, what kind of legacy I wanted to leave behind. I walked away from special operations. Even though at the time of submitting my paperwork to leave, I was rated number 1 in my company and number 1 in my battalion. Simply put, I wasn't willing to sacrifice my marriage, my memories with my future kids based off of the altar of success. But even though you would think I was fully prepared to make this decision, I surely wasn't walking into clarity or peace of mind. I was walking straight into uncertainty. I enrolled in my MBA program thinking that was the safe thing to do. Something still felt off, and I just knew I wasn't built for a desk. I was built for destiny and adventure. I dropped out and pursued entrepreneurship. I felt like I was trying to navigate this ocean with no map, just a dimly lit star constellation to guide me through this rough sea. Truth be told, the transition from the military wasn't clear-cut or easy. There's plenty of time for isolation, financial pressures caving in, identity confusion for one, and a lot of nights questioning whether or not I even made the right decision. In my head, I can imagine friends and fellow leaders in the military looking at me sideways, kind of thinking like, why would you walk away from a career that was not only stable, but something you were excelling at? And for me, perhaps it was the stripping away of titles and accolades that was God's way of cleaning house and revealing something deeper within me. And in these moments of anxiety and fear during my transition out, I remembered that sometimes when you're in a dark place, it can feel like you're being buried, but in actuality, you're being planted. Fighting my way through murky waters didn't happen overnight, but over time, I built a real estate business. I began to build a family with my wife, and I created a place where I could lead a home, not just a team. Today, I wake up knowing exactly where I chose to invest my strength. Leaving special operations wasn't the hardest part. Leaving behind a version of myself that needed validation, that was the real war. I wrestled with feeling somehow less without the uniform. I fought the fear of being ordinary without my deployment patches and unit patches. I struggled realizing that being a good man was more than being a decorated soldier. Look, 15 years from now, my son won't care about my airborne wings. And my wife, she could care less about what level of clearance I held. They care if I showed up, stayed present, and led with love. And to me, the loudest applause is the quiet trust of people who know you the best. Today, I'm certain that I didn't lose my mission. I found a greater one. Look, if you're fighting battles that are going to cost you the future you've been praying for, maybe it's time to choose a different war. Stay tuned for more videos coming up on faith, fatherhood, personal mastery, and business. Hit subscribe if you guys want to see more, and I'll catch you on the next one.